As promised, Congressman Keith Ellison joins me now to talk about how we can get corporate money out of politics. Congressman Ellison represents the 5th District of Minnesota and is co-chair of the House Progressive Caucus. Congressman, welcome.
Hey, good to be here, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. What's your reaction to this latest study that shows that just 10 entities, nearly half of them billionaires, not all of them even human beings, are responsible for fully a third of the over $200 million that has been raised and spent by super PACs just so far?
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. I think it's the foreseeable and predictable outcome of a horrible Supreme Court decision like Citizens United and of a bad decision like the one that created super PACs. The fact of the matter is we've got to do something about it, and we need a constitutional amendment to change it. But in order to get that constitutional amendment, we need a mass movement, which is why the Progressive Caucus has joined with progressive leaders around the country to have a declaration for democracy calling for the overturn of Citizens United, and joining with municipal leaders, city council members, state legislators, and leaders in the community to sign this declaration so that when we get a Congress that wants to get money out, we can have the popular movement that can help demand it and drive it, and then help us ultimately be successful at restoring the people's voice, and not the corporate one.
Vermont just voted in favor of this most recently this week.
God bless them. Good for them.
Indeed. And before that, I believe it was Montana and Hawaii, if my recollection is correct.
So that's three.
So I'm just a little dumbfounded by this. I hear from Democrats, and particularly progressives, you know, let's get the money out of politics, let's roll back the Citizens United decision. But I don't understand why a Republican member of Congress, or some Democrats, there may be some, would like the idea that they have to spend 2/3 of every day raising money, or
running and getting nowhere, and they can't stop, because if they do, they think they will, I don't know, not be able to move forward. But they're not moving forward anyway. But, you know, the bottom line is our days are taken up by it. It's humiliating to ask people for money in the amounts we have to ask them. And, of course, people who are writing the checks often feel like they own you or have some sort of excessive say-so over what you say and do, and they like to threaten you. They're not going to support you anymore. I mean, these kind of things, that's no way to live, you know. We should be spending time listening to everyone, and anytime you're prioritizing calls based on who donated to you, you got a problem.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people do that. And I wish that no one would have to do that, and no one would even have to worry about it.
Yep.
But that's the problem we're in. We got to get money out, and we got to get it out now.
Absolutely. Well, let's turn to the Violence Against Women Act. This was passed in 1994. It was reauthorized in 2000, again in 2005. And this was during the Bush administration. It wasn't even considered controversial then. Why the holdup now, and what's the Republican opposition to the Violence Against Women Act?
Well, you know, a lot of women have been speaking in terms of the war on women. And some people on the right have pushed back on that term. And I say, fine, you don't want to call it war on women? Let's call it war on women's rights. These people don't even want to agree that Griswold versus Connecticut, which gave women the right to contraception, which gave women the right to control when and where and how often they had kids, they don't even agree that's settled. We're fighting over contraception nowadays, a battle that we thought was settled long ago. Here's the reality. You know, you take a guy like Rick Santorum, and you got to admit that he was honest about his vision of America. He wants women taking care of him. He wants to be the big man and the head of the household. Doesn't want a partnership. He wants the dictatorship. And bottom line is that this is the vision of a lot of folks. I mean, think about the guy who said in his day they used aspirin and the gal had aspirin between her knees. You know, this is the psychology of the people we're talking about, who believe, you know, that, you know, women's sexuality is something that's threatening and bad, and they just want to control it. So, you know, to get down to what they really have against women, it takes more psychological expertise than I have, but all I know is we got to stand for equality, women's rights, and get that Violence Against Women Act passed.
Yeah.
It's shocking that they would stand against the Violence Against Women Act. I mean, women are killed nearly every minute of every day. It's a shocking, the regularity.
Why not? And what does Congress or what do Congress and the president need to do about it?
No, homeowners are not getting near the help that they need or deserve. The fact is that we got into this foreclosure crisis based on slick practices, no-doc, low-doc loans, stated income loans, prepayment penalties, 20 loans that had balloons after 2 years or 3, terms not explained. People wrote these mortgages and didn't care whether the people could pay them back because all they wanted to do is sell them on the secondary market as soon as they could. Then these loans were pooled and packaged and lied about with the rating agencies and the whole mess, and then shorted so that when they finally went kerblooey, somebody would get paid off. Bottom line is, Tom, homeowners haven't gotten the help that they need, but that's why the Progressive Caucus called in Eric Snyderman, who's the AG of New York, to talk today about the settlement that was just concluded. We have several of our members, including Maxine Waters, has real critiques of the settlement, but we're not doctrinaire. We're going to take what we have and do all we can for homeowners, and we plan on making sure that this agency that's supposed to bring accountability and extend help to homeowners has the resources that it needs. So we're organizing on Capitol Hill to make sure that the homeowners get what they need and that the administration really starts holding some people accountable.
Congressman Keith Ellison, thanks so much for the brilliant work that you're doing, not just for your state, but for the entire nation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tom. Be well.
We need more progressives in Congress to push back against this radical agenda being pushed by Republicans on behalf of their corporate and billionaire owners. Center for American Progress is out with a new study on how the Republican budget cuts food assistance programs and is going to lead to millions of low-income Americans, particularly children, going hungry. Earlier this month, the House Agricultural Committee passed legislation that cut $33 billion from food assistance. Those cuts would lead to 1.8 million Americans a year getting kicked off food assistance. Nearly 300,000 children immediately losing free school lunch programs. And here's the kicker. The Republicans aren't even using the savings from these cuts to lower the deficit or stimulate the economy. They're putting the extra money toward $3 trillion in tax cuts for the Romney super rich in America. The Republican/libertarian vision for the future of this nation is one in which the oligarchs ride to work in their stretch limousines while millions of working poor Americans beg for food on the streets.